Hey, boys and girls, this book is called The Berenstain Bears Save Christmas by Stan and Jan Berenstain with Mike Berenstain. The Berenstain Bears Save Christmas. Shop at Grizzly Mall. Merry Christmas. 'Twas the month before Christmas, and all round the mall, the pre-Christmas traffic had slowed to a crawl. The stores were a-sellin', the horns were a-blowin', the shoppers were busy toing and froing. Even the family that lived down the sunny dirt road. For directions, just ask any chipmunk or toad. And were usually full of calm Christmas cheer. They too were going Christmas crazy this year. Mama Bear missed how it all used to be when all Christmas needed was a small Christmas tree. Christmas time once, a time just for caring, a time for all families to be giving and sharing. But now it seemed Christmas no longer meant love. Now it seemed Christmas meant let's push and shove. Let's fight for that very last toy on the shelf. Let's look out for that fellow known as yourself. But a watcher was watching that bare country scene, keeping close track of Christmas on his scanner machine. And who was that watcher? Did I hear you ask? Why, the person in charge of the whole Christmas task. It was Santa himself who was watching this mess. And what did he think? You can probably guess. What was happening to Christmas, grown swollen and huge, was turning old Santa right into a Scrooge. Santa, like Mama, longed for Christmas of old, when he flew through the night, so bracingly cold, in his magical sleigh all laden with toys, for all the good little cub girls and boys. But now things are changed, and not for the better. He used to enjoy reading each little cub letter. Now Santa got email, which he read with alarm, all asking for toys fully lacking in charm. This little cub wants a video game, and I hate to say it, but the game is so complicated it's easier not to play it. And here is one that's even worse. Cubs simply do not need it. A virtual pet that up and bites if you fail to feed it. And worst of all, this cub wants this innovative cutie, a miniature canine named Little Doggy Duty, with an item purchased extra that's positively super, a high-tech battery-operated electronic pooper scooper. Santa Bear was angry, upset, and annoyed. If things don't change, he thundered, Christmas will be null and void. And depressed and discouraged, he jumped into his bed, turned out all the lights, and pulled the covers over his head. Meanwhile, look at what was happening on the Bear family street. Christmas had become a chance for all bears to compete. You have never seen such gaggles of winkling, blinking lights, or such a loud and rude display of un-Christmassy sounds and sights. Great big plastic Santas that were roaring, ho, ho, ho. A whole entire house that was wrapped with a bow, gigantic candy canes reaching for the sky, speakers blaring Christmas hits at neighbors passing by. Reindeer whose red noses would put Rudolph's nose to shame. The bears, one and all, had been caught up in the game. All of them were trying for the best Christmas display. All of them were trying to turn nighttime into day. The cubs were also caught up in this nasty Christmas rage. Their Christmas wish list grew to cover page after page. Mama Bear tried her best to pull Pa from the brink. She begged him, please take a moment, just stop and think. But Papa, like the cubs, was still carried quite away. There was no doubt the greedies would spoil Christmas Day. Now Mrs. Santa loved Christmas just as much as her mate. She especially liked the catalog that came from Barrel and Crate. But she, too, thought that Christmas had gotten out of hand and that the Christmas greedies were spreading through the land. She was worried about Christmas, but worried more about her mate. Hot tea usually cheered him up, with fresh-baked cookies on a plate. But Santa Bear was gone. There was just a note on the bed. It was pinned to Santa's pillows, and this is what it said. Subject: Christmas is canceled. To my dear and loving wife. Christmas is my life, and what I have to say is that the true spirit of Christmas has somehow lost its way. I have gone to find it. I will search until I do, but better that there's none at all than what is turned into your loving husband. Of course, Santa's disappearance made the network news. Folks gathered around their TV screens in 4s and 3s and 2s. They called up all the talk shows, and all said, "What a shame," but not a single bear thought the bears were to blame. Mama Bear knew better, of course. Santa Bear has quit, and with all that's happening, you can't blame him a bit. We've blotted out the stars with 1,000,000 watts of light. We have lost the Christmas spirit and forgotten all that's right. The bears knew in their heart of hearts that Mama Bear was right, and that they had all contributed to Christmas's sad plight. The bear cubs got the message, and Papa Bear did too. But what was done, they thought, and what were they to do? Well, said Mama Bear, we could set a good example. I think a few lights around the door will be more than ample. So Papa and the cubs saw the error of their ways, and working very quickly, they took down the huge displays. But Santa was still missing when all was said and done, and the chance of saving Christmas seemed clearly slim to none. But Santa had a plan, and he was really still about it. And with the fate of Christmas still very much in doubt, he went among the bears very carefully disguised and traveled without his sleigh. He went unrecognized. So in his tweedy cap and suit, he traveled far and wide. And looking for the Christmas spirit, he searched the countryside. He had to keep on searching. He could not give up hope. This place looks familiar. He had seen it on his scope. Santa looked up at the stars sparkling in the sky. No longer did the lights below outshine the lights on high. Well, that's a smart, thought Santa with a hopeful smile. Maybe my long, lonely search will finally prove worthwhile. But Santa needed more than just soft lights around the door. He needed the true spirit of Christmas back in place once more. Santa still worried about Christmas and its fate. And when he checked his watch, which showed the time, the day, the date, and with alarm he cried out, "Good grief, it's Christmas Eve! Was there still time enough for Christmas reprieve?" Santa knew full well that it was about to snow. He could always feel it coming in his left big toe. But suddenly it was snowing with all of nature's might. It whipped and whirled and swirled. It whited out the night. It crystallized the air. It filled the very skies. And it was as if the air were filled with icy fireflies. Then at that very moment, through the whirling, swirling snow, far off in the distance, he saw a gentle glow, and despite the cold and blowing snow, he could clearly see that the light he saw before him came from the bear's big tree. The very same bear family had been once upon his scope, the very same bear family who had made him give up hope. And just then the door opened, and there was Papa Bear, coming out into the cold from his warm and cozy lair. Out he came so bravely through the deep and drifting snow, even though the wind chill was 86 below. Papa had a cup of birdseed and a tiny holly wreath, and he pressed forward further into the blizzard's icy teeth. Papa had come out to feed a tiny bird, no bigger than a mouse, a tiny hungry bird. In a tiny cold birdhouse, Pa hung the wreath and placed the cup under the eaves, safe beneath the shelter of snow-laden leaves. Santa said to Papa, "What a nice thing to do." "Not at all," said Papa. Little birdies got to eat on Christmas too. But if you don't mind me asking, who the heck are you? Yule's the name, said Santa. Just a stranger passing through. Well, whoever you are, said Papa, tain't fit out here for bear or beast. So come in and get warm. I can't offer you a feast, but Mama's Christmas cocoa is the best warmer upper, and we would be tickled if you would stay for supper. So Santa Bear and Papa Bear came in from the cold, and then Santa saw Christmas as it was in days of old. There was a fresh-cut tree, paper stars on the window panes, and all around the room there were homemade paper chains. Santa's search had ended, and his spirit was more than buoyed. Santa Bear was more than pleased. He was overjoyed. The bears had refound Christmas in the goodness of their hearts, celebrating with their love and homemade crafts and arts. They had found the Christmas spirit, which, though old, is always new, and the Cubs had just finished their latest letter to you-know-who. Would their guests like to read it? Why, don't mind if I do. Santa, quick, put on his specs and read the Cub's brief note. As he read it, he got quite a lump inside his throat. The letter did not ask for every greedy Christmas whim. It left the matter of gifts for them completely up to him. It requested gifts for others, a toy mouse for Miss McGriz's cat, a plant for Miss McGriz herself, and for Male Bear Bill, a hat, something nice for Grizzly Gus, who had had a fall. As gifts for themselves again, that was Santa's call. A great big smile spread slowly across old Santa's face. Yes, the true Christmas spirit was alive in this warm place. After supper, Papa looked out and said, "The snow has slowed." So they left the bear's house and went down a snowy road. It was a lovely cold night, with the snow still gently falling, as the bear family and their guests went a Christmas calling. They exchanged small gifts among themselves in warm homemade dishes and happy and heartwarming Merry Christmas wishes. There was soft Christmas starlight to guide them on their way, and they sang this song as they went jingling along in their horse-drawn sleigh. The soft lights of Christmas sparkle and glow, the cast lovely light of the new fallen snow. They remind and oblige us to be good of good cheer. They fill us with feelings for those we hold dear. As we pass through the night to visit family and friends, the lights beckon us on to where the road bends, to ever new vistas of grace and delight. They lighten our hearts as they pass in the night. The soft lights of Christmas send a message of love, paying homage on earth to the starlight above. Thanks for the lift. Now I must leave, said Santa Bear. Here's where you can let me off. I'm staying over there. And with a wink and a twinkle, he bid them a goodbye. And then he was off like magic through the Christmas Eve sky. I have searched for Christmas, he cried, and found the spirit true. Now, if you'll excuse me, I have work to do. Merry Christmas! The Berenstain Bears save Christmas. I hope you love this book.